Hi, hello, catchphrase. So today I'm coming to you with minimum viable video number 2. I'm wondering if this is a good time to do these because by the time this hour rolls around, man, I'm toast. A lot has gone down. But I guess a couple of things. I've fashioned some online things that I've done in the past as kind of recommendation engines, and I noticed that I do that pretty naturally. So let me start out with one. The first one is The First 20 Hours by Josh Kaufman, which is really interesting because it's super intuitive. I guess a lot of good books, they want to promise a big power pack punch of things you didn't expect. This one just makes sense. He suggests that instead of striving for the 10,000 hours to become the greatest and most fluent, whatever it is, you just really set a goal for your level of proficiency at whatever the skill is, playing the guitar, riding a mountain bike, I don't know, whatever random examples you might have. And he walks you through that methodology, and then he really quickly transitions over to 4 or 5 things that he did using the method. Playing the ukulele, learning how to code. That one was interesting because he had a specific project, a lovable project, as he likes to say, which was he had WordPress issues. His blog was going down when he hit lots of traffic. And so he said, okay, well, we got to do the static website, just like in the good old days in the internet. And so he just wrote, he decided which application language he would use, and then went through the whole process of developing the app, deploying it, and replacing his current online presence generated by WordPress with a new online presence generated by him knowing how to code. And then the other one is ukulele, which is awesome and fascinating. I play a little bit. My boy has a ukulele, and it's fun to play with, but I already play the guitar. But I'm probably still going to check it out. Recommendation number 2, and I don't know if this is in your wheelhouse or not, but there's an application called Free Code Camp. My boys are at a cool code camp, which is also free, but is IRL. And they're learning how to think about programming in the internet and computers, and maybe eventually do some front-end development. When I did front-end development about, 10 years ago actively, it just looked very different than it does today. So I was Googling to see what their activities, if there was any kind of online presence for what they're doing. And I'd stumbled on freecodecamp.com, which is neat. It kind of, it's different because instead of just learning for you, you go through the certification process, and at the end you're writing software for nonprofits. And I've often been on the web and wondered why it seems like there's a direct correlation between people that have money and people that have lots and lots and lots of skills building the coolest website. So they're really cool and independent in an area of somebody's passion, or they're very well funded. Nonprofits are not typically, if you're passionate for saving the animals or the whales or the fossils or whatever, you might be passionate about that and not necessarily about writing code. So this is kind of cool. It's a way to turn people's skills into experience in a way that kind of helps the world get better. So anyway, kind of interesting. Let's see. Another amazing recommendation is Date Your Wife. And the guy's name is Justin Buzzard, which I'm just going to, even though as I've been reading the book, I've wanted to think, this guy's name has got to be Buzzard. Just because who wants to have a last name of Buzzard? No. I don't know how it's pronounced, but regardless, it's an amazing book. I finished it in a day, and we'll be walking through some of that, trying to make your life more about the gospel and make your life more about loving the person that you pledged to serve. We spend so much time getting to know them and selling ourselves to them to get them to choose us. But once they're in, they're in. I don't like that idea. And that's not a notion that I want either for my own marriage or for the marriages of the people around me. Okay, number 4. This is probably the last one. The Art of Manliness podcast had an old episode today that was talking about the vanishing neighbor. I forget the guy's name that he was interviewing. But putting all that together, I think I've just been thinking a lot about what are the actions that you take, the things that you think about doing that don't immediately benefit you? So if I want to improve my marriage, can I improve my marriage in a way that improves the community around me? If I turn my marriage outward, one of the recommendations that it's suggested in Dating Your Wife was to take a couple that is struggling in their marriage, and together you and your wife, who may not even feel like you're doing the best job, mentor them actively for 5 weeks. It can really do a lot to help your marriage. And I've seen that, because what they say is what you teach, you really learn, and you really understand better. So, I don't know. I'm not going to belabor it anymore. Those are my recommendations for you today. First 20 hours, Josh Kaufman, Free Code Camp, Date Your Wife, the Art of Manliness podcast on The Vanishing Neighbor. And I think there's a book. You should check it out. Catchphrase.